Okay, let's take a look at this. We've got the piece of paper I got on the board. Remember, in degrees, coterminal angles differ by a measure of, who's got that number? 360. I'm sure we all knew that. Maybe we're still just kind of organizing ourselves and getting ready, getting locked in for the notes. Coterminals differ by a measure of 360. We could do coterminal math. Very easy. You do plus 360, you do a minus 360, and there's an infinite number of coterminal angles because you can just keep going. Plus 360, plus 360, plus 360, plus 360, plus 36,000, right? All of those are going to be coterminal angles, blah, blah, blah. Now, example, are negative 90 and 630 degrees coterminal? Well, if all we need to do is check if they are coterminal, then just start with one and try to make your way towards the other one. So if I, look at this 90 and I do plus 360, that's going to be 270. And then if I do 270 plus 360, it's going to be 630. And so yeah, I made my way from one to the other by only adding 360 or subtracting 360. And I think we're good. Yes. Nice. Example. Give a positive and negative coterminal angle for 80. Easy. Who's got one of them? I mean, just shout them out. What do we got? 80? Negative 280 degrees is a valid coterminal angle that is negative because all we did was subtract 360. Who's got the other one? 440. Nice job. 440. The class is coming alive. Nice. 440. Not stressing too much. Add, subtract, blah, blah, blah. Now here we go. Coterminal angles in radian measure are found by adding and subtracting multiples of 5. No. 2 pi. Because coterminal requires a full lap, and a full lap has to be 2 pi. Okay? So they've asked us here, are pi over 2 and negative 3 pi over 2 coterminal. Now, we know how to convert radians into degrees. And so the long story is, yeah, you should be able to do all these questions if you just convert every single radian into a degree. And then you compare those degrees and you do all that, and then maybe you have to convert it back. I don't know. But when you get the test at the end of this unit where every single question is asking about radians, you don't want to be a student who has to convert the entire test into degrees and then solve the entire test in degrees and then maybe go back and put the answers back into radians. You're not going to have time to do that kind of stuff. So you want to, especially skills like this, coterminals, this is not meant to be so hard. If we want to add and subtract 2 pi, well then easy, just add and subtract 2 pi. So if we start here with pi over 2, and we could just add or subtract 2 pi. Now if we're trying to go backwards to negative 3 pi halves, then I probably want to subtract 2 pi. But when we're doing this and we're adding and subtracting in questions with fractions, what are the rules for adding and subtracting fractions? Yes, a couple different ways to say that, and you guys all said it pretty much right. Common denominators. And do these have common denominators right now? No. So what does the pi have to have, or the 2 pi have to have as a denominator? It has to have a 2 in the denominator. Let me pick a color that's a little easier to see. Let's go orange today. We have to have a denominator which is 2, but if we double the bottom from 1 to 2, we have to double the top from 2 to 4, right? And that's not complicated math. All we did was a times 2 on the bottom and a times 2 on the top. And now, obviously this is a 1 pi half. A little bit of fraction addition, leave the bottoms alone. Add or subtract the tops. 1 pi minus 4 pi is negative 3 pi. And so, are these coterminal? Yes. They're coterminal because we added or subtracted 2 pi and we got to the same place. Now, how can we do this a little bit faster? right? Again, the point of this is because we're trying to save time from convert everything, do the math, convert everything back. We're trying to save time from that, and this still took a little bit of time. So maybe this isn't just as fast. But if we can keep track of this pattern, we want to add or subtract 2 pi, and 2 pi is probably not going to be able to stay as 2 pi. 2 pi is going to have to turn into a fraction that matches with the original fraction. So basically, here's what you want to think in your head. Here's what you want to learn today. You're going to be adding or subtracting 2 pi in the form of same denominators with a double top, because that's what 2 pi is. It is a 2 over 1. So we make the bottom a 2 and we double the top. So when we look at this looks crazy. 19/18 pi and negative 53/18 pi. I mean, gross. But in reality, we do 19/18. We're going to be adding or subtracting 2 pi. This one is compared to negative, so I want to subtract. And I'm not really going to use this yet. I'm going to hope that's my answer. What I'm going to use is 2 pi, which is going to be, keep the bottom the same and double it for the top. So 18, double 18, 36. Right? This whole thing right here, this is 2 pi, but it's just like 2 pi in a perfectly set up. Then you just do your calculator. 19 minus 36. What's 19 minus 36? Negative 17. Is that this that we wanted? So is the answer no, they're not coterminal? But could you keep going? Could you try another 2 pi and see if we get there minus another, same thing, 36 pi over 18. What's negative 17 minus 36? Negative 53. Yes, we did it. Yes, these are coterminal. So my advice is keep going until you kind of pass it, and then you know, okay, wait a second, I passed it, it doesn't work. Let's try number 3. 41 over 36 pi and 61 over 36 pi. Does anybody have an intuition as to whether this is going to be coterminal or not?
No, this is not.
It doesn't look very good, because if I even just try to set this up and I try to add 36 and then double it, 72, I'm thinking, wait a second, this is going to be over 100. And there's no way it's going to be stopping at 61. This, I agree with you guys, no, that is not going to be coterminal. And what started off as being kind of a long question, we're like, maybe you don't realize it, but our speed is picking up for sure. Find a positive angle less than 2 pi that is coterminal with 17 pi over 6. So that means coterminal. Let's go ahead and find our coterminal. And our goal is to get a positive angle less than 2 pi. So we don't want to subtract too many times and get negative answers. Let's start with this. 17 pi over 6. Let's take away 2 pi, which is going to be 6, double it, 12. And what's 17 minus 12? 5. Does this work as a final answer, or do we need to go another lap?
That works.
That would work. If we go another lap, we will be subtracting 12, and 5 minus 12 would be negative 7. That's too far. So one way to do this is to keep going, and once you get to a negative answer, you realize, whoa, that was too far. Stay with my 5. The other way to think about it is if we need this to be less than 2 pi, then we need this to be less than the 12. As soon as we get to a number less than the 12, we're good. Let's see this again. Find a positive angle less than 2 pi that is coterminal with negative pi over 12. Okay, negative pi over 12. It's negative, so I want to go ahead and add to get back to the positive number. So I'm going to be plussing or adding. 12, what number goes on top? 24. Mr. Carr, this is easy. I'm bored. Yeah, no problem. That's like a -1, and so that's going to be 23. Make sure you have a pi on there, but that's it. And so already, I hope, this is actually a quick process, right? Take your 2 pi, which is just leave the bottom the same, double the top, do your simple adding or subtracting, and it's saving you a lot of time. What do you got? Sure, just go ahead. Make sure you're quick because they don't like you out much past 210. Find a positive and a negative angle that is coterminal with this. So we want a positive and a negative, okay? 31 over 25 pi. Do you want to go up first or down first? Doesn't really matter which one we do first. I'm sorry, I was talking over you. What'd you say? Up, sure. Plus 25 on bottom, double it, 50. Again, that's the one thing we're learning today is that 2 pi, you put the same bottom and you double the top. That saves you the whole process of common denominators because we can do it that fast. That 31 plus 50, that's going to be easy to do in my head. That's going to be 81. There is a positive coterminal angle, and let's do the same thing, but with a negative. (31 pi over 25 minus 50 pi over 25. Again, I'm not really worried about the pi's. They're kind of like x's. They hang around, but we don't really mess with them. 31 minus 50 is going to be 19. What'd you say? Ah, what has he written? Come on, Mr. Collier. Very good call. The top one should have a 25 at the bottom. Nice catch. Sorry if that got, man, we almost did the whole nose, Mr. Collier. Didn't make a mistake, but he blew it at the very end. All right, nothing on the back. Coterminal angles.
This is the easiest lesson, right?
This is the easiest lesson. That's right. All right, cool.